And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here as we get ready for race number 7 of the NNSCRA Almond Joy Series. We are here under the lights at Texas Motor Speedway getting ready for the run of the O'Reilly Auto Parts 300. And as you can see on the pole position is Nick Johnson, picking up his second pole of his Almond Joy Series career. However, I'm certain he doesn't want lightning to strike twice because the first pole he had was back at Rockingham, UK, and it was at Rockingham, UK at the start of the running of the engines and the rolling off of pit road. Something happened to the 42. He had to go back to pit road, to be pushed back to his pit stall, and they, as a consequence, did not even get to start the race. So let's see if this time he'll be able to roll off without any issues in tonight's Texas race. He'll roll off alongside of the number 22 out of Penske Racing. That is Cody Smart. James Qualls, our winner from a few weeks ago, will line up in the third position alongside of the 88 of Amaury Stoudemire Jr. We got ourselves a very interesting points battle coming into tonight's race, as well as some drivers in very unusual spots in the point standings. Remember, you have to be inside the top 30 in the point standings for your win to count towards the newly formatted chase system that we have here this season, and we'll fill you in on all the details of that in just a moment as soon as we get the command to fire up the engines. We're going to go down trackside now, though, and get those most famous words in motorsports, so we'll get ready to go racing for 34 laps here tonight at Texas.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
There is the command to fire them up. The night time is the right time. Take a look on the left side of your screen. You'll see your 40-car starting lineup for this evening's race. And here's your point standings coming into tonight's Texas Motor Speedway event, as Ben Watson is still the points leader by 17 points over a tie for second. Eric Hayden and Paul Minnick right now are in a deadlock tie for that second position. DJ Curtis is fourth in the standings. James Qualls is fifth. In sixth is Mitchell Carter. Grayson Acavito seventh. Kev Shearer jumped up into the top 10. He's now eighth. Kermicka Jazz in ninth. And Davey Johnson, after a tough run last week at Infineon, has dropped all the way down to 10th in the standings. Now, out of those drivers that have been to victory lane, they're in the top 10 in the points. Only two of them, Benny Watson and James Qualls. As far as the other drivers that have wins this season already, two-time winner Matthew Dallio has dropped to 19th in the standings. Zachariah Hall, our Las Vegas winner, is currently 13th in points. And last week's winner at Infineon, Joseph Romero, actually came into that Infineon race outside of the top 30 in the point standings. He moved up to 31st in points with his win, but he's got to get some good finishes here in the next few weeks to get himself inside that top 30 in points bubble to have that Infineon win count towards a spot in the chase for the championship. As here we go, Nick Johnson, Cody Smart, James Qualls, Stoudemire Jr., and Cody Hagan's your top five as we get ready to go racing here. The O'Reilly Auto Parts 300 at Texas is green. There you see the points leader, Ben Watson, stepping out of line 3 wide already. On that inside line has Ryan George along with him. Ryan George fell outside of the top 10 in the point standings after his run last week at Infineon. As Nick Johnson gets out to an early lead, James Qualls will move into second. The battle is on for third. Amaury Stoudemire Jr. to the inside of Cody Smart. Chevy versus Ford. And then you got another battle behind them. That's for the fifth position between Ryan George, Benny Watson, and Jonathan Zorlin. And that's actually going to go 3 wide into turn 1. Davey Johnson right there in that mix. So is Chris Dollerton and Jay Jefferson. Oh, an old blood car in the wall! Bouncing off of Jay Jefferson goes Zorlin. Jefferson into the inside retaining wall. That will more than likely be a yellow flag, I would think. No caution. We're still green. One car wrecks on the back straightaway. The 28 of Jay Jefferson after bouncing off the 62 of Jonathan Zorlin. Hits the inside wall, but we are still under green flag conditions. And the battle for the lead is beginning to heat up between Nick Johnson and James Qualls. There you see the smoke lingering after the 28 car spun. Why that didn't bring out a yellow flag, I'm not rightly certain. And here comes Qualls to the inside for the race lead on Nick Johnson. Somehow, someway, we're still green flag racing after Zorlin got the wall off of 2. He bounced off one car, back into the wall, and then back down into Jay Jefferson, and Jefferson's car was the one that went spinning. As James Qualls now has a rear decklet full of Davey Johnson, Johnson may have thoughts about going 3 wide here out of 4 if he can get a run. And this lap is going to be led by James Qualls, and that'll be our first lead change of the evening. And look who's up here in this group as well. Jeffrey Finguy in the 20 has now caught up to this lead group. You got about 8 cars in this lead group, then a gap back to the 9th position, which is points leader Benny Watson. Then you jump back to 10th place, that's Zachariah Hall, and then there's 3 wide all the way through this field on back from the 11th position on back. Angel Navarro, Eric Hayden, Seth Cole, Jesse Turner. And one car you can see right there, the left side damage on the 62 of Jonathan Zorlin. Don't know how much significant damage that is that may be causing some speed issues for him. And oh boy, almost 4 wide there off this corner is Elijah Gordon. And Jonathan Zorlin nearly touched door to door. And I think Grayson Acavito might have gotten a piece of the wall there off of turn 2. No visible damage, but I think he may have just scrubbed it with the right side of his Hellman Chevrolet. DJ Curtis working his way up through the field. That last time by scored in the 24th position. Comes into this race 4th in the point standings, and boy, they are really racing hard up ahead of him still. Look at this. Nick Gunther's up in this group. Oh, another car in the wall. That was Connor Breton. Bounced off the wall, but didn't bounce into anybody, and so therefore is able to keep it straight. DJ Curtis giving him a lot of room as he puts 2 tires down there on the apron. And as a consequence, might have lost himself some good track position. Back up here in the lead group, or well, this is actually not the lead group, it's the second group. You got Nick Gunther, you got Jonathan Rains. We're looking at 2-time winner Matthew Dallio, who's fallen all the way down to 19th in the point stands after starting off the season so strong. Carmichael Jazin turning down right in front of him there. Jazin battling with Zachariah Hall. Carmichael Jazin 9th in the point standings. As we've actually had a lead change, Davey Johnson has gone to the top position. The Florida Lottery Chevrolet Camaro, now the race leader. Jeffrey Finguy moves into 2nd. 3rd place now Chris Dollerton. The 2 drivers that were out in front for most of this race up to this point have fallen back now to the 6th and 7th position. Nick Johnson back to 6th. James Qualls back in 7th as there's the battle here for 5th. Caution is out. First caution of the evening, the yellow flag waves. It's not the first incident we've had tonight, but it is the first yellow flag officially to wave in this event, and it comes out on lap number 9. And let's see who this might have been for. This is definitely a break for Jay Jefferson. Looks like Colin Denton and William Brock are a ways back here. They may have been the cause of the yellow flag. We'll find out shortly, but I believe Jay Jefferson actually stayed on the lead lap despite the spin. Let's check and see. And indeed he did, so a very timely caution for Jay Jefferson, who got involved in that Jonathan Zorlin incident earlier on. Now going to get caught back up to the tail end of the field and will potentially be able to try and mount some kind of a comeback here and pick up some spots. As we're waiting to see if the leaders will be coming to pit road, and no, they will not. So Davey Johnson leads us under our first caution of the evening. Let's take a look and see what happened. At turn 2 has been a big problem for drivers on the high side to find some grip to be able to turn onto the back straightaway. Watch the 33 of DJ Curtis. Watch how the car just continues to wash up the track, wash up the track. There's no grip up there apparently, and he's going to be one of the drivers that gets the wall right there. And this is almost shades of his teammate Jonathan Zorlin. He's got to come down. He gets into the right front of Colin Denton, and as a result, they're going to hook the 3 of William Brock around. Now, my question is, why did this bring out a caution and the Jay Jefferson spin did not? That's the only thing that confuses me. Wow, Colin Denton trying to get on the brakes hard, driver's side first into the inside retaining wall as well. William Brock didn't get a whole lot of damage out of that. The roof flaps deploy. He may have gotten some passenger side damage from the One Main Financial Chevrolet being into that side of his race car. Yeah, you can see there is some damage there on the right side of his Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boat Chevrolet, but I would say the one driver that got the most damage out of all that might have been the One Main Financial Chevy of Colin Denton, but that's what put us under the caution flag, and we have all 40 cars now still running on the lead lap. We were about to have some drivers get lapped, including Jay Jefferson, if this thing went into a long green flag run, but now we're going to have all 40 cars lined back up. We're going to try it again here as we get ready for our first restart here tonight in the O'Reilly Auto Parts 300. Caution lights are still on atop the Chevy Corvette pace car, but we should be getting the signal 1 to green next time by, and I do not believe anybody is out of the race after that incident. I think a couple cars did come to pit road, including Denton, Brock, and Jefferson. DJ Curtis did not come to pit road after he was the one that bounced off the wall. He's still running in the 31st position, and Jonathan Zorlin, despite bouncing off the wall, and Jay Jefferson, is still running the 25th position. He also did not come to pit road, so we only had about 3 cars on the pit lane. None of the leaders came to pit road at all, so be interesting to see if they can actually make it the entire race without having to come to pit road, or are we going to see pit stops in the closing stages of this race? I don't know. Maybe they were close on fuel and they were able to clutch and save enough to be able to make it the rest of the way here under this caution. Maybe if we went green flag all the way to the end, they might not have been able to make it. But as we'll wait and see if we get the 1 to go signal, if we do, we will give you your full field rundown to the best we can before we get ready to go back green flag racing. There will be no lap traffic on the inside line to deal with, as all 40 cars are still running and still on the lead lap, and that is the signal, 1 lap to go. So it will be Davey Johnson, the race leader. Chris Dollerton is in second. In third is Jeffrey Finguy. Fourth, Ryan George. Fifth is Cody Smart. Nick Johnson, the pole sitter, back in sixth. James Qualls is in seventh. Amori Studemeyer Jr. runs in 8th, Benny Watson 9th, and Jonathan Rains completes the top 10. Jesse Turner is in 11th. 12th is Nick Gunther. 13th is going to be Matthew Dalio. 14th place, Carmichael Jasson, and completing the top 15 is Seth Cole. Rest of the top 20 are Zachariah Hall, Eric Hayden, Julio Cesar, Angel Navarro, and Elijah Gordon. Kev Shearer is 16th. 17th is John Andrews. 18th place is Tyler Markle. 19th will be Jordan Lopez. And completing the top 20 is Jonathan Zorlin. Then you got Connor Breton, Jeremy Jones, Richard Johnson, Mitchell Carter, and Paul Minnick back here, and I believe that would be the 25th position. No, that would be 30th, actually. 31st place is DJ Curtis. 32nd, Mike Becker. 33rd, our winner last week, Joseph Romero. And the rest of your field, you've got Caitlin. I just lost the name. Caitlin something. I forgot. Shoot. Then Grayson Acabito, Brooke Allen, Cody Hagan, Colin Denton, William Brock, and Jay Jefferson. Can't believe I forgot Caitlin something. Well, I'll try and remember it. As here we go, green flag back out here on lap 14. So give us 21 laps to go. Can't believe I forgot that name. I know it's Caitlin, but I can't think of the last name. That's driving me nuts. Caitlin Sang, I got it. Okay, wow. All is right with the world again. As look at here, you see Jeffrey Finguy running way low into the corner, and he almost dive-bombed the 43 of Dollerton. Might have moved him out of the way. The battle is on for second. Davey Johnson likes to see that in his rearview mirror, as he'll try and open up some distance between himself and that raging battle for the second position. You look up here in this group, and with drivers that have been to victory lane, only 2 drivers are inside the top 10 that are previous winners this season. James Qualls in 7th and Matthew Dalio in 10th. So we have a 80% chance of another first-time winner here this evening. And this race is far from over. We're not even halfway through the races. Look at here. Nice run there on the high side by Davey Johnson, holding Jeffrey Finguy at bay at least for the moment, and he will lead that lap. And now Finguy will have the advantage of the inside line into 1 and 2. So it looks like the outside line gets a nice run through 3 and 4, but we know that the outside line has no grip out of turn 2. Field is definitely broken up too. We've got 3 cars here all grouped together. Then you got another 2 cars in Cody Smart and Ryan George in 4th and 5th. Then you jump back here. You got a battle on for the 6th position between Nick Johnson and James Qualls, who aside from Davey Johnson are the only ones to lead laps tonight. And as soon as I say that, Jeffrey Finn guy leads a lap, so now 4 drivers have been out in front tonight. Nick Gunther back there now running in the 8th position. He'll catch up here to the 6th and 7th placed cars. Matthew Dalio there, and then you got to jump back and you find it's almost like a grenade's gone off, and these are the fragments. You got Jonathan Zorlin and Morris Studemeyer Jr., Jesse Turner, Carmika Jasmine, Seth Cole from about 10th place on back. Good run for Jesse Turner, though, in that 39. Hasn't gotten a whole lot of TV time this season, and right now trying to find his way up inside the top 10, right now in the 11th position. So having a good run in that 39 Ryan Sieg car. Ooh, this stacked up here. Matthew Dalio had a nice run, but had to back out of the throttle to avoid running over James Qualls and Nick Gunther. Jonathan Rains doing the same as now Gunther will try to the inside line. This is the battle for the 6th position. Looks like Nick might get it here at the line, and he may actually clear the 42 before they get to turn 1. Indeed he will. So move Nick Gunther to the 2nd position, or to the 6th position, I should say. Now James Qualls going to try for 7th. Meanwhile, up ahead, we got another battle going on here. This is for the 3rd position. Davey Johnson has it. He's dropped back since giving up the lead to Jeffrey Finn guy, and Cody Smart working his way close to the front again. After starting the outside of the front row, he's going to try to peel to the inside, and this will be the battle for position number 3. Chris Dollerton trying to run down Jeffrey Finn guy. The gap between himself and the 20 remaining about 0.2 of a second. He gained about 100th on Jeffrey Finn guy that last lap, and wow, that time actually the outside line got a decent run out of turn 2. Guess you just can't run way up high out of turn 2, or else you're going to lose the grip. Davey Johnson hangs on for the meanwhile to hold that 3rd position, as right now Jeffrey Finn guy out in front showing the way. Joe Gibbs Racing has yet to pick up a victory this season. Jeremy Jones, Eric Hayden, Jeffrey Finn guy, all out of the Joe Gibbs Racing stables, trying to find victory lane for the first time this season for the Toyota team. Have not been able to do it as yet. JGR already has 2 victories in the Hershey's Cup Series this season, that being in the form of the 78 rookie Matt Haas. Now I find it kind of interesting too that out of the, if you don't count this race, out of the 12 races we've run so far this season in both Almond Joy and Hershey's, 4 of those race wins have gone to a driver in a number 78. 2 wins in the Hershey's Cup Series for Matt Haas, and of course the first 2 races this season in Almond Joy Series went to the 78 of Matthew Dalio. Thought I heard some slower cars. Well, apparently not, but Caitlin Sang is way off the pace, apparently. Has lost the group just ahead there of Joseph Romero, Jay Jefferson, Cody Hagan, Connor Breton, and Grayson Acavito. Sang right now, I believe, is running last car on the lead lap in the 40th position. And she's just now hitting the start-finish line. The leaders are halfway down the back straightaway, so she's still a full half lap ahead of these drivers. I don't know if they're going to catch her or not. But there still is that question of, can these drivers make it on fuel? I can only assume they can. I'd be surprised if they can't, because if they can't, why did they not take the opportunity to pit under the only caution we've had up to this point? And right now, it is mono-e-mono, Jeffrey Finn guy, Chris Dollerton, because they are a full 2 seconds ahead of 3rd place, which is still under contest. Cody Smart still determined to get by Davey Johnson for that position. They're still side by side. They jump back here, and you got a battle 3-way between Nick Gunther, Ryan George, and Jonathan Rains. That is for 5th place, and Ryan George on the outside line will take the spot. Rains trying to now move into 6th, move Gunther back to 7th. Jesse Turner right there in 8th, and you got James Qualls 9th, Matthew Dalio in 10th, and how about Elijah Gordon? Nice run for the 2 car in the 11th position right now, trying to crack the top 10. Carmika Jasmine back in the 12th spot. Jordan Lopez now in the 13th position. A couple of drivers that were up here that have fallen back. Morris Studemeyer Jr. is now a long ways back, currently running in the 17th position. Seth Cole was up here inside the top 10. He's recently dropped back. Richard Johnson, Eric Hayden, they've dropped back here. And how about Colin Denton? Restarted all the way back. I think it was in the 38th position. He's now going 3 wide with Richard Johnson and Kev Shearer. He's worked his way up now into the top 25. He may have just worked his way into the top 20 with that move. They're 3 wide up ahead. That was Angel Navarro putting John Andrews in the middle. Nick Johnson on the high side with Julio Cesar there as well. A couple of Toyotas side by side for position, and that would be, I believe, for the 14th position. Pole sitter Nick Johnson trying to fight his way back up as well. This is the battle for 10th between Matthew Dallio and Elijah Gordon. James Qualls right now firmly in control of 9th, and here comes Jesse Turner with Jonathan Rains. This is the battle that's on for the 6th position. Sorry, make that 5th. Davey Johnson still holding on to the 3rd position. Cody Smart still there with him. Then up ahead, you got the race leader, Jeffrey Finguy, and then about 3/10 back, the 43 of Chris Dollerton, who is steadily losing ground to the 20 car. See if he gains any ground back this time on this lap, but he definitely got to close the gap up a lot more than that if he's going to challenge for the race lead. Last time was about 0.34, this time 0.32. He closed it down by 200ths, but he's going to need to close it down by a lot more than that because time is running out for Chris Dollerton. There are 6 laps to go, 5.5 as Jeffrey Finguy hits the back straightaway. Can Dollerton reel in Jeffrey Finguy, or is Finguy en route to his first win of the season in the Almond Joy Series? This time by, does the gap shrink or grow between the top 2? It stays the same, still 0.32. Little more than 0.3 of a second separating Finguy from Dollerton. The car of Caitlin Sang is leaving turn 4. The leaders haven't even gotten to turn 3. I do not believe Caitlin Sang is going to play a factor into the outcome of this race. Dollerton running a slightly lower line there out of turns 3 and 4. It looks like visibly he closed the gap up just a bit. Let's see what the ticker says. He did. 8/100ths he closed it up that time, and he is still making up ground. So Dollerton, apparently it's go time for the 43 as he is slowly reeling in Jeffrey Finguy once again. We could have a battle for the win on our hands with about 3.5 laps to go. Dollerton this time runs the same groove as Finguy. If I had been him, I'd have run that low groove again. It gained him a lot of time through 3 and 4. And this time at the line, he lost a little bit of ground. Lost about 4/100ths. I'd keep running that extreme low line if I were Dollerton. He's doing it this time. Half groove lower than Jeffrey Finguy through that corner and visibly closes the gap up again. Let's see if he chooses the low line through 3 and 4. And runs it a little bit higher through that groove. Maybe about a quarter of a groove higher out of 4 than Jeffrey Finguy, and I don't think that gained him any ground. He gained the 400ths back that he lost the last lap. He's got to run it right down on the bottom. That's the only way he's going to make up time. 1.5 laps to go. Dollerton trying to close the gap. He's got to run the low side here. Finguy has not run the low side. Dollerton's got to take advantage of that and run down low. And he's not. He's running that higher line. That's not gaining him ground. That's losing him ground. And there is Caitlin Sang just up ahead. White flag displayed. Will they catch Caitlin Sang before they get to the checkers? Dollerton's got a couple more corners. He runs the high groove again as Finguy puts it right down on the bottom. Dollerton trying to get the run off the high side, but he's lost more ground. I don't think he's within striking distance. He can try the low side through 3 and 4, but I think all it would do would get him to the back bumper of the 20. Instead, he runs the high groove, and Jeffrey Finguy is going to hang on. He'll win the O'Reilly Auto Parts 300 here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. And a big reason why Chris Dollerton maybe couldn't get the car down on the bottom of the racetrack on those last few laps, of course, the tire wear that none of the drivers really came to pit road under our only caution, so the tires were definitely wearing down, you have to think. And that might have been a reason why Chris Dollerton just could not close the gap up between himself and Jeffrey Finguy will pick up his first win of his Almond Joy Series career, and that may have clinched him a spot in the chase for the championship. And as a matter of fact, it's back-to-back wins for Toyota as well, as Romero went to victory lane last week at Infineon, and Finguy follows it up with a Toyota victory here tonight at Texas. Chris Dollerton's so close, but I think he needed fresher tires to be able to close the gap up between himself and Finguy. Cody Smart will finish in third. Jonathan Rains battled up to the fourth position in the closing stages, so a good run for a guy who had tough break last week at Infineon. Jesse Turner will finish in fifth, a solid run for Jesse. I think that might be Jesse's best finish of the season. Nick Gunther will get sixth. Davey Johnson slipped back to seventh. Ryan George will get eighth. Elijah Gordon did crack the top 10 in the end. He got ninth, and James Qualls will finish in 10th. How about Mike Becker? Didn't talk about that 98 most of the night, and he finishes in 11th. Jordan Lopez finishes 12th. Angel Navarro is 13th. Matthew Dallio 14th, and Carmichael Jazz in 15th. How about the comeback of the race would have to go to Colin Denton after getting involved in our only caution of the evening. Restarted back in, I believe it was the 38th, maybe it was the 39th position. Battled back in that green flag run to finish in the 16th spot. You have to think maybe fresh tires had something to do with it, as he was one of only 3 cars who came to pit road under the caution flag we had tonight. Mitchell Carter will get 17th, John Andrews 18th, the rest of your top 20, Julio Cesar and Richard Johnson. As you look on down through the remainder of the finishing results, pole sitter Nick Johnson finishes the evening out in the 24th position, and everybody managed to finish on the lead lap and actually finish the race. But a couple of big notables that finished down at the bottom of this running order, including the points leader coming into this race, Benny Watson, finishing in the 34th position. That's not good for a driver who only came in 17 points over Eric Hayden and Paul Minnick. Hayden finished 23rd, Minnick finished 25th, so it's going to definitely close the points gap up quite a bit between those three. DJ Curtis, fourth in points, finished the race out in 30th position, so not a good run for him. And Joseph Romero, talked about before we went green, comes into this race 31st in points, needs to be in the top 30 in points for his win last week in Infineon to count towards a spot in the chase for the championship. 38th here tonight. That's not a good way to get started after picking up a victory last week to work your way into the top 30 in the points. So definitely got a lot of work to do still on that 87 team. But that's going to do it here tonight. Jeffrey Finguy is your winner of the O'Reilly Auto Parts 300 tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's race. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to Compare the Crew today. You're looking at your official point standings heading into next week. As you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best, we'll cap the weekend off with the running of the Duck Commander 500 here, the Hershey's Cup Series race. That'll be coming up next. Till then, I'm Seth Cole saying good night from Texas.